Do you know what makes an amazing dad? So I'm a person who lost a child. My son passed away at 7 months of age, and I also lost my dad 2 years ago. And in this Father's Day, I want to give you a message that anyone can be an amazing dad. And I want to tell you how you can be an amazing dad. And I'll use my dad and my son as an example. And this is Lara. She's sleeping now, but she's my second child. So my dad was a very hardworking person. He worked very hard, like until late night, very early morning. So as a consequence of not of working that much, very often I would stay like the whole week without actually talking to him. So he was very hardworking, but we didn't have like a very intimate relationship. I never really shared anything of my really intimate life with him. So there was always a distance, and I could notice that he always wanted to be closer to me, but he didn't really know how to do it. You know, he comes from a Japanese family, and you can imagine that stereotype of never talking about emotion and things like that, not sharing personal stuff. So that was my dad. Something very interesting that happened with my dad or with me when I went to uni. I started to have like a more broad idea of life, and I got a different perspective from my parents. So when I was going back home from uni, I started to hug my dad, and it was something that we didn't do it before. Like, I was not used to hug my dad before that. He didn't really hug us when we were kids. I have two brothers, and when I started hugging him, I think I could see a shift in his perspective. So after a while, every time that I came back home, I was expected to give him a hug. I could see him expecting a hug from me, and that was really amazing. But even hugging him was kind of the only thing that we could actually do, because he could not really share emotions and get so connected closely to me that much. You know, that was just his kind of way of living. Like, and he was kind of okay with that, even though I could see he wanted something else. So there was my dad. He passed away at 70 years of age. And my son, who passed away about almost 3 years ago, he lived 7 months. And I usually say that my son, who lived 7 months, he lived as much as my dad, who lived 70 years. And the reason for that was how intense was having him. So he was born with a very severe and rare condition, and he was placed in palliative care when he was 2 months old. So between 2 months and 7 months, we had him in palliative care, which means that we knew that he was going to pass at some point, but we didn't know exactly when it was going to be. So we had a very intentional and strong bonding, and a very extreme moment, like intense moment together. And that really transformed my life. So how can before that I thought, how can you love a baby? A baby is not talking back. Like, a baby is just like eating, like having milk, having a feed, pooping and sleeping, and on repeats all the time. Is it possible to love a baby? And with him, I noticed that, like, you can love a baby as much as an adult, even more than an adult. It just by loving him and just by being next to him, I learned so much. So my son, he taught me how I can be a very good dad. Even though he couldn't speak or say anything, just looking at his face, I knew I was doing something right. And all the learning I took from him, I pass on Lara here, so she gets all the benefit from his big brother. So the main thing I want to tell you is just be there. So my dad, he worked so much and so hard, and I'm really thankful for him for bringing home like the money we needed, for making sure we have everything we needed materially wise. But he wasn't there as much, and my mom did that role. And but both of them were not really good at sharing emotions or sharing intimate stuff. But you know, as a child, I always wanted to be with my dad all the time. I really wanted to be with him. He was just never there. So if you can spend more time with your child, I know you might have to work so much, but if you can spend more time with your child, and in that time that you manage to spend with your child, it's so important that you just be there. Don't worry about bills, don't worry about what you have to do, what you didn't do. Don't worry about like how messy or noisy your child can be. Just be there and be a little bit messy as well. Be a little bit noisy and try to understand how the brain of a child works. You understand that? Like, if you can be always one step ahead of your child and think things that he might want to do or to think or to play with, that's amazing. But just be there and forget about everything else. I see many parents, they're so worried about like being a good parent, like doing things right, not making any mistakes. But to be honest, that's really something, it's a bullshit, to be honest, because you don't really need to know how to do everything. Your child will tell you if you have a mental silence enough to listen to your child. Like, you will notice how happy they are, how much they smile. They want to tell you something, and they will, by their smile, by their behavior. So if your child seems to be fussy all the time, crying, trying to make him or herself like seen, like craving for attention, there's something you need to change there. All right. So the first message is be there. The second message is don't try to be perfect. Just listen to your child much more than you're trying to impose things to your child. And I guess the third thing that I would like to share with you is that it is a process. It is a process. So, and you have to learn with that process. You don't need to look for like gurus of how to take care of a child, or how to make your child sleep or eat more or this or that. Just try to notice your child, be there, not try to be like a perfect dad or a perfect mom. Do you understand that? In this moment, celebrate that you have a child. Celebrate that you gave life or is the guardian of a child, and you are the person that little one will learn most of the things they will learn in their life that they will use as a grown-up. So understand that within your heart, okay? And be happy that you are a dad, and enjoy on this day. Don't worry about what you're getting as a gift from your child or from your partner that's going to be that's going to buy a present on the child's behalf. Just be there, have fun, have some cuddles, hug your child, and have fun. Do you get that? See you in the next video. Thank you. Bye.